The Super Bowl for 2023 has come and gone, but a lot of companies spent a lot of money, and they were aiming for their advertisements to net them a major return on investment. How did the entertainment companies do with the biggest movie trailers being released? Well, I've got a way to find out, and I'm about to share it with you so we can determine which ones were fantastic and which ones were forgettable. Well, it was an entertaining Super Bowl. I'm not sure about the halftime show. That was bizarre and lackluster in my opinion, but everybody's got their own opinions, so maybe you really enjoyed it. But whatever you thought of the Super Bowl, one thing that we're interested in taking a look at today is, again, trying to explain entertainment and trying to keep you ahead of the culture curve. To do that, we need to take a look at the major movie trailers and commercials that were released during the Super Bowl. We all know that those ads cost quite a bit of money, and so when companies take that gamble to put those out there, they're doing so with the expectation that they're going to get a result on it. Now, we're going to be taking a look at this from a lens that I don't think most of the channels out there are going to do. To help us with this is going to be Mr. Charles Goff. He is here today to help us take a look at the success or the failure of these Super Bowl trailers and determine just how well they did. First of all, Charles, welcome back. This is your second time on, and we did a deep psychological dive last time. This time a little bit more fun. What were some of your favorite parts of the Super Bowl?
Well, I really enjoyed the creative calls that they came up with on several of those plays. But yeah, it's a pleasure to be back. I really enjoyed our first video, and I look forward to kind of getting into some of these trailers, especially with you can see so much of the effort that these companies put into them, and it'll be great to just kind of go through them and give our feelings and what we think about them. So, all
right, so let's dive straight in. First of all, we've got Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. This was a short spot, TV spot. Most of the footage we've seen before. This put out, of course, by Lucasfilm, a subsidiary, a studio of Disney. And again, we're going to be taking a look at these not from the typical lens of ranking whether or not these were good or bad and subjective opinions about them, but rather we're taking a look at the effectiveness. Because again, if you think about how much money is being spent for every single second, each second of airing an advertisement during the Super Bowl tends to be higher than the average annual income of any individual. Now, there are some people who are out there making $300,000 or more, and that's the kind of numbers you're going to have to be able to afford 1 second of advertising space during the Super Bowl. So, for that kind of money, if we take a look at the Lucasfilm Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny big game TV spot, we can see that this one only had 76,000 views. Now, of course, that's not the number of views that it received on television. But what we're looking at, Charles, is we're looking for how many people went from seeing this on the Super Bowl to then going to look it up on YouTube. And 76,000 people in the 3 hours it's been out have done so. Now, clarification here, the magic of YouTube means that we are talking to everybody on Monday, but in reality, this video is being recorded very late after the Super Bowl, maybe perhaps into Monday, but certainly not at the time that it's airing. So, Charles, what did you think about Indiana Jones, the Dial of Destiny? And before I hand it over to you, let me say also that you are not someone who is deeply involved in the industry of television and movies, and so that's part of why I'm very interested in what you thought, because you, I think, represent the average person wanting to check out a trailer and pick out the movies that you want to go see. So what did this trailer mean to you, this 30-second spot?
I'm so glad that I'm the average person. No, I'm kidding.
You're the average Joe. You're the everyman, Charles.
I understand.
Now, if we were doing a philosophical conversation, you quickly become quite more than that.
Oh, I know. I'm just giving you a hard time, bro. But I guess just for reference, folks, I don't even have a TV in my living room at home, so I don't really engage with this stuff. But whenever I was watching the trailer earlier today, and I was watching the events of the trailer, I was seeing a lot of the classic action of Indiana Jones, and he's of course back. He's fighting the Nazis. He's searching after a goal, doing something, right? It's classic Indy. But it was a bit odd because whenever you look at Indiana Jones, I can't remember the name of the actor, but whenever you're looking at him,
About
it
Harrison
doesn't
Ford, right?
seem like Harrison Ford, right? Oh, yeah, my apologies. But yeah, whenever you look at Harrison Ford, he just doesn't really look like I guess the typical physique and kind of guy that would be doing these high action, highly physical kind of scenes, right? It's nothing against him or nothing, against the, elderly people. It's just that, when you see these jumping out of planes, whenever you see jumping from car to car in traffic and doing these things, it just didn't really look too, not necessarily realistic, but I get it. I'll suspend my my judgment there. But it was really neat to see the action. I thought a lot of the picture was great. I Part of me kind of would like to see a new antagonist and it not just be the Nazis, because we are in 2023. I mean, maybe it would be too early to see something on potentially maybe Russians or maybe
Well,
some
we've done
other
that
group.
before. That didn't go so well.
Well, yeah, yeah,
So,
that's true.
so one of the things, Charles, that I'm looking at here is this is one of the scenes we know this was filmed in Glasgow, and it's supposed to be New York. Indiana Jones, the series, the first three movies at least, were well known for being realistic looking. And this one, if you just look at this parade, this looks more like some sort of painting. Um,
Yeah.
it does not rise to the quality that I would expect out of an Indiana Jones movie, and this doesn't look good necessarily. And I think that there are a lot of people who may have the same feelings because, and you're going to not see this with any of the others. Look at this over here. Lucasfilm disabled the dislike button for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Now that is not a vote of confidence in your media property. But again, disabled by Lucasfilm to even dislike it, even though the dislikes are essentially hidden on YouTube. Now, I have the ability to see them, but most people don't. And again, 76,000 views in 3 hours. So let's move forward now to the next topic, and that is The Flash. This is a movie that's been in production for years and years and years. It is led by a star, Ezra Miller, who has been in a lot of trouble. And some of that trouble is criminal level trouble, and it's on video trouble. Yet it still has to be made for whatever reason. That's been the decision that Warner Brothers has the conclusion they've come to. And it's exceedingly expensive, like Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which probably has a $350 million budget. The Flash is likely up there as well. Now, The Flash did not meet my expectations in some ways, and in other ways, it was better than I had thought it would be. The appearance of some of the older Batmans was very well done. I thought that Ezra Miller, despite probably being a very bad individual in real life, I thought was decent, in this trailer, and they actually featured Ezra Miller some. But as I'm looking right now at some of these clips, my issue is that the CGI, the special effects that were featured in this trailer were particularly bad. And by that, I mean video game level bad. Like,
Yeah.
if this is what they've come up with in 5 years, then they need to hand this over to, let's say, the people making Injustice, the video game, and let them handle the cutscenes instead. And you can see when we pause here, when we get these still shots, just how discongruent the images are. But Charles, so this one from Warner Brothers, and again, we're just doing the official channels that are putting out these trailers. So We're not doing IGN. We're not doing Rotten Tomatoes. But this one has 94,000. So that's 20,000 more views than Indiana Jones. And they have not disabled the like and dislike buttons. And you can tell that there does seem to be more dislikes for this than you would anticipate. So for a brand new trailer that you're wanting to put out there and make everybody want to come see your movie, you should never put out a trailer that would cause anybody to say, no, I don't want to see that. But for the reasons that we've discussed with Ezra Miller, you can see that they've got 16,000 likes, and basically they've got 2,000 dislikes. So 1 out of 8 individuals who came to watch this and found it worthy to vote on voted negatively for this one. So you watch this. I don't think you've been following closely with The Flash or its development. What did you think of this, just watching it the first time, sort of coming into this movie with a blank slate? What was your impressions?
Well, the first thing that I have to remark on was just the overall plot line. Going back into the past and, having the whole butterfly effect thing and, meeting your old self, right? The previous self, in the past. It felt like it's been done before in several movies. And so it's nothing too original with that. One thing that I thought and was particularly struck by, and I thought was kind of the coolest part, was when both of the Flashes came down into the Batcave, and of course you had the "I'm Batman" part right there. So I really enjoyed that part. Batman, I thought, was really, really cool. I think some of the commentary that's done, I mean, it's, of course, the Flash is kind of a younger male. So you kind of see some of those little bits of commentary of, just kind of having fun and kind of things to the side, which is typical of the Flash, right? But it seems to me from the trailer that even though it's called The Flash, it doesn't really seem like most of the focus is on the Flash just from the trailer. But
yeah, there's a reason for that, eh? Okay. Well, let's hop into the next one, and we're going to take a look. This one was essentially, a commercial within a commercial. And this is dropped by Illumination. This is the Super Mario Brothers plumbing commercial, which is absolutely filled to the brim with Easter eggs and callbacks to video games, TV shows, music that people had not heard since the late 80s, early 90s. And, well, this is vastly different because this one has 317,000 views on its official channel. And by the way, let me say this. We're not going to discuss the IGNs and the Rotten Tomatoes and all those other channels that take these trailers and upload them. We're not going to use them to make a determination, but let's just say that this is spreading rapidly on other places. 55,000 likes, which, by the way, what a ratio. The fact that out of the 317,000 people who saw this, they managed to get 55,000 of them, right? Nearly 1/6 willing to plop down a like, maybe 1/6, and only 395 dislikes at all. So you can say that this was, the Mario Brothers plumbing commercial. Whoever came up with this idea, this was a massive success because, again, we're trying to judge how many people watched this during the Super Bowl and then in the hours since the Super Bowl went to YouTube to go watch it again. Charles, what did you think about this one?
Well, I really liked it. I thought that it was kind of a cool retro kind of a thing. It was really an interesting idea to make it a commercial. So instead of, I guess, kind of seeing kind of parts of the movie itself, seeing kind of the Mario Brothers in action, it's kind of like the episodic feel rather than hitting on the main story. It was lighthearted. It was fun. It just kind of seemed like something that had a really good energy. And whenever I watched it, it's something that personally, I'd like to go see the movie. So
sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. And then let me say, we're not going to cover some of the lesser movies. And I don't mean lesser as in they're lesser quality or they're less worthy of your time, but I mean less chance for audience sizes. Okay. So, for example, the one about Michael Jordan and Nike. That might be a fantastic movie. It may win tons of awards, and when I review it, I might say it's the greatest movie of 2023. But it's not going to have an audience the size of Super Mario Brothers or Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is what we're looking at now. All right, so let's take a look at this one. And in the hours since, this one has 1.1 million views. It has 117,000 likes, not as good a ratio in terms of who clicked on it and then felt so compelled to select that they liked it, right? So not as good there, but in terms of audience, in terms of reach, this one blows away everything else. 1.1 million views in just those few hours. And if you look at the like to dislike, that's fine, right? 117 to 1. That's much better than what we saw with The Flash, where it was 1 out of 8 was selecting the negative instead of the positive. So, Charles, you saw the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 trailer. What did you think of this one?
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was great. I'm personally a big fan of the other Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I think the plot line itself is interesting. It's creative. It's something that it's not been really done as much. Like, you could argue that, you know, the traveling through space, kind of having the individual personalities of maybe kind of Star Trek-esque, but it's different, and it's total, I guess, attitude, like the personalities of the characters, the overall plot line. I really like it, particularly with the trailer here. It was kind of like the Mario Brothers one. It was fun. And of course, that hits right on the kind of the normal kind of attitude and the feeling and, you know, energy of all of the other Guardians of the Galaxy movies. So I really liked that. I really enjoyed seeing that one. Other things to remark on, I would say, it really, you could see a lot of passion in a lot of the actors' faces and the different scenes. So you may not actually get critical plotline information, but you can tell that it's going to be full of emotion, full of drama, and it's something that, out of all of the trailers that we've seen, this, if I could only go see one, I would have definitely chosen this one to go see.
All right, now, you know, I know this is not shocking to the audience, but we have went now in order of the trailers that had the least impact in terms of drawing an audience off of the Super Bowl to go watch YouTube. Or, you know, we realize everybody can do both at the same time. We're multitaskers now in this nation. But we went in order. Indiana Jones had the worst pull, the worst interest levels, if we use this way of making a determination. And I think this is the most fair. The Flash did slightly better. Mario Brothers was significantly better than both of those two. And out of all four, the Mario Brothers movie, the commercial, drew the most likes as a percentage of viewers. That's important because that indicates momentum. It also indicates that we may have excellent word of mouth if the trailer is indicative of the quality that we see out of the final product. And then Guardians of the Galaxy, if you're looking for a Disney movie that could break the billion mark, that's it. That's the one that is going to have the best chance. Now, the one thing we need to mention before we wrap this up, everybody needs to take note that Disney did not do the Little Mermaid trailer as was expected. And within about 24 hours of the Super Bowl, we had confirmation they were not going to do that. It came via the lead actress who is playing Ariel in this new movie. And I'm not sure why Disney made that decision, but it's noteworthy. Again, I'm not going to speculate as to why Disney felt the need to pull that one, but that's their other shot at $1 billion in 2023. The fact that they wouldn't put their other potential $1 billion maker up for the biggest night in television is a little surprising, and I'm not sure why they made that choice. Oh, one more thing, and then we'll wrap up. Okay. Also note that Disney put out a 100 Years of Wonder trailer that had all kinds of stuff from Disney's history. Note, everybody, that when it came to Star Wars, which two characters were front and center? Rey and Grogu. That's where Disney is going. You can tell now internally when they're doing their marketing decisions who they're going with. There's no need to go back to the sequel trilogy unless they're going back to the sequel trilogy. All right, Charles, last thoughts on movies coming up this year and what might be exciting to you, what might be compelling enough to get those dollars out of your wallet and get you to spend the time with the floors filled with sticky popcorn.
Yeah, I guess just to reiterate with what I was saying, I would say the Guardians of the Galaxy one is more than likely I'm going to go see that one. I thought it was just phenomenal. It's very interesting. I look forward to going in and seeing that. I do think that the Mario Brothers one probably appeals to the younger crowd, which may be why you see more engagement with that. Maybe children with their iPads kind of doing their thing, right?
Well, I hadn't thought of that, but you're right. Maybe children engage more with voting than adults do. But I also think that's a multi-generational film. I think that's going to have a lot of people who grew up with Mario all the way from their early 50s all the way down. The people who played Donkey Kong in the arcade all the way down to the little kids who are just discovering Mario today.
Yeah, definitely. I think it'll definitely transcend generations. So I think that those both are going to be really good films. So I wouldn't be surprised if I go see the Mario Brothers as well. As for the other ones, The Flash, maybe. It just depends. But, I definitely Guardians of the Galaxy and the Mario Brothers films. Yeah, I definitely plan on watching those. But it's interesting that Disney didn't put out the Little Mermaid film. Maybe it's a part of their cost reductions plan. Could be. Maybe they don't want to shell it out. Maybe it's too much of a risk. But for whatever reason, they decided to go with that. If it's a good movie, then it'll travel word of mouth. People will go to the theaters and go watch it if it's a great film. So if I hear good reviews from my friends and from other people, then probably The Little Mermaid as well. But
Charles is going to see The Little Mermaid? I can't believe it.
Hey, why not? Why not?
Somehow I doubt this, Charles, but
But
thanks for playing the everyman for us today. The next time that we are doing a deep philosophical conversation or we're talking about the underpinnings of entertainment and what makes things move and go when it comes to storytelling, you're at the top of the list. But when it comes to movie trailers, it was nice to have you hop aboard for one time and say, well, I'll play the average Joe out there. So thanks for hopping in, Charles. Look forward to having you on again.
Yes, thank you very much, Pro. I really appreciated coming on. Thank you for having me.
All right, everybody, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, drop a comment down below. Tell us what was your favorite trailer. Tell us why you think these trailers had the impact levels that they did. Like, share, subscribe, and stick it to the algorithms. When you click it, that's the notification bell. Knock those things out for us, and wherever you are, whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.